There's a reason this club only opens after midnight, and it has nothing to do with music. My name is Nina Alvarez. I used to save lives as a paramedic. Now I hunt for answers in the darkest corners of Detroit, recording stories that most people would rather forget. 11 years ago, my sister Carmen disappeared after visiting an underground club. The police called it a runaway case. I called it abandonment. But 3 weeks ago, I received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a single photograph. Carmen, dancing in a red-lit basement, her eyes completely black. On the back, someone had written, "Red Vault, she's still dancing." That's when I knew the nightmare wasn't over. It was just beginning. Carmen vanished on October 13th, 2014. She was 23, working as a bartender downtown, saving money for art school. The last text she sent me was at 11:47 p.m. Found that place everyone talks about, the one with no name. Wish me luck.
I've been searching for that place ever since, and now I think I found it.
This is my confession, my testimony, maybe my goodbye. If you're listening to this, subscribe and hit the bell. Share your thoughts below. Tell me what time you're watching and what city you're from, because after tonight, I might not be able to tell you anything else. The abandoned textile warehouse sits like a concrete tombstone on East Grand Boulevard. During the day, it looks like every other forgotten building in Detroit. Shattered windows, graffiti scars, chain link fence holding back weeds and memories. But at night, everything changes. I've been watching this place for 6 days now. Parking across the street in my beat-up Honda, engine off, windows cracked just enough to hear. Most nights, nothing happens. The building stays dark, empty, silent. But on Friday and Saturday nights, between midnight and 4 a.m., people arrive. They don't come in groups. They come alone, one by one. Each person approaches the loading dock on the north side, where a single red light blinks above a steel door. They knock. The door opens. They disappear inside. I've counted them. 43 people went in last Friday. 42 came out. Tonight is Saturday. I'm going in. The photograph in my pocket feels heavier than it should. Carmen's face, frozen in that red light. Her expression somewhere between ecstasy and terror. Those black eyes that couldn't be hers, couldn't be real, but I know they are. At 11:58 p.m., I cross the street. My heart hammers against my ribs. The red light pulses like a heartbeat, like a warning. The steel door has no handle on the outside, no visible way to open it. I knock 3 times, the way I've seen others do. The door opens immediately. The man standing there is tall, pale, wearing a black suit that looks expensive. His eyes are the color of old pennies. He doesn't speak, just stares at me with the kind of intensity that makes your skin crawl. "I'm looking for the Red Vault," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. He nods once, steps aside. The hallway beyond is painted black, lit by strips of red LED lights that pulse in rhythm with music I can feel more than hear. The bass thrums through the floor, through my bones, into my chest, where it mingles with my heartbeat. I step inside. The door closes behind me, with a sound like a coffin lid. The point of no return. The hallway slopes downward at a subtle angle. The walls are covered in black fabric that absorbs sound, making every footstep feel muffled and wrong. The red lights pulse faster now, matching the quickening tempo of the music below. My breathing becomes shallow. Something's wrong with the air down here. It's too thick, too warm, carrying scents that make my paramedic training scream warnings I try to ignore. I pass 3 doors, all closed. all unmarked. Through the fabric walls, I can hear voices, laughter, sounds that might be crying or might be something else entirely. The sounds follow me as I walk, as if whatever's behind those doors is tracking my movement. The hallway ends at a set of stairs, metal steps, painted black, leading down into darkness. The music is louder here, but it's not like any club music I've ever heard. It's organic somehow, alive, like the building itself is breathing. I start to descend, counting each step. 1, 2, 3. The temperature drops with each step, and I can see my breath in the red light. 15, 20, 30. The stairs go down farther than they should. I count 47 steps before I reach the bottom. That should put me at least 20 feet underground. But the building above is only 2 stories. The math doesn't work. The math hasn't worked since Carmen disappeared. At the bottom, another door. This one is deep red, almost black, in the pulsing light. A small sign reads, "Red Vault, no phones, no cameras, no names." I touch the recording device in my jacket pocket. It's not a phone, it's not a camera, it's my lifeline. I push open the door, and the world explodes into sensation. The sound hits me first. Not music exactly, but something that moves through your body like warm electricity. Then the smell, incense and sweat, and something metallic that makes my stomach turn. The room is massive, bigger than the warehouse above. The ceiling disappears into darkness, and the walls curve away into shadows that seem to move on their own. Red lights pulse from hidden sources, casting everything in the color of fresh roses. People dance on the main floor, not dancing. Exactly. Moving. Swaying. Their movements are too fluid, too synchronized, like they're all following the same silent instruction, like they're all part of the same dream. I scan the crowd, looking for Carmen, looking for anyone who might have answers. The dancers range in age from teenagers to elderly, all lost in the same hypnotic rhythm. Their eyes are closed, their faces peaceful, but there's something wrong with their skin. It's too pale, too translucent, like they're slowly fading away. That's when I see her, standing at the center of the dance floor, but perfectly still, while the crowd moves around her like water around a stone. Her skin is pale as moonlight, her hair black as the walls. She's wearing a dress that seems to shift color in the pulsing light, red to black to red again. But it's her eyes that stop my breath. But they're completely black. No iris, no pupil, just deep, endless black that seems to pull light into itself. Like Carmen's eyes in the photograph, the woman turns toward me. Even though I'm standing in the shadows by the door, her lips curve into a smile that's too wide, too knowing. She raises one hand and beckons. I don't move. Can't move. Every instinct I have is screaming at me to run, but my feet are rooted to the floor. The music changes, gets deeper, more insistent. The dancers move faster, their movements becoming more frantic, more desperate. Some of them stumble, but they don't stop dancing. They can't stop dancing. The woman begins to walk toward me. She doesn't push through the crowd. The people simply move aside, creating a path without seeming to notice they're doing it. Their movements part like a curtain, revealing her approach. I force myself to step backward. My hand finds the door handle, but when I try to turn it, nothing happens. The door won't open. I'm trapped. The woman is 10 feet away now. 5, close enough that I can see her skin isn't really skin at all. It shifts and ripples like water, like something is moving underneath it. You're looking for someone, she says. Her voice is like honey mixed with broken glass. Someone who looks like you. But I can't find my voice. Carmen Alvarez, my sister. She came here. They all come here. The woman tilts her head, and I hear something crack in her neck. They come looking for something. Music, connection, escape. They find what they're looking for. Where is she? The woman's smile widens. She's dancing. She's always dancing. Would you like to see?
Before I can answer, she touches my arm. Her skin is cold, colder than anything living should be. The touch sends ice through my veins, and suddenly the room changes.
The red light becomes brighter, sharper. I can see details I couldn't before. The dancers aren't just moving to music. They're trapped in it. Their eyes are glazed, unfocused. Some of them are crying, but they can't stop moving. Some of them have been dancing for a very long time. In the far corner, I see a man whose clothes are weathered through. His skin has grown pale and gaunt, but he's still moving, still swaying to the rhythm. His eyes are hollow and distant. A woman near the center has worn grooves in the floor where her feet have been stepping in the same pattern for who knows how long. Her hands are scarred and raw from reaching towards something that isn't there. How long? I whisper. Time works differently here, the woman says. She still has her hand on my arm, and I can feel something crawling under her skin. Some have been dancing for days, some for years, some for decades. That's impossible, is it? Her laugh is like breaking glass. Your sister understood. She let go. Let the music take her. She became part of something beautiful. I jerk my arm away from her touch. The cold sensation fades, and the room returns to its deceptive normalcy. The dancers look normal again, alive, but I know what I saw. Show me, I demand. Show me, Carmen. The woman nods toward a staircase. I hadn't noticed before. It spirals down into deeper darkness, carved from the same black stone as the walls. She's in the deep vault, the woman says, with the others who have truly surrendered. But I must warn you, once you go down there, you might not want to come back up. I think about the photograph in my pocket, Carmen's face, lost in that red light, those black eyes that weren't hers anymore. She's my sister, I say. Yes, the woman agrees, and soon you'll be dancing together again. The promise in her voice makes my skin crawl. But I've come too far to turn back now. The spiral staircase goes down much farther than the first one. I count 137 steps before giving up. The stone walls are covered in symbols I don't recognize, carved deep into the rock. They seem to move in the pulsing red light, writhing like living things. The music gets stranger. The deeper I go, it's not coming from speakers anymore. It's coming from the walls themselves, as if the stone is singing. My heartbeat synchronizes with the rhythm, and I have to fight to maintain my own pace. The air grows thicker, warmer, more oppressive. Each breath feels like I'm drowning in honey. This staircase ends in a circular chamber with 5 tunnel entrances. Above each tunnel is a symbol, the same symbols from the walls. The woman hasn't followed me down. I'm alone, but I'm not really alone. I can feel something watching me from the tunnels, something that breathes without lungs, that moves without footsteps. The sensation of being observed crawls across my skin like insects. I choose the middle tunnel. It slopes downward, and the walls here are different. Not carved stone, but something organic, something that feels warm and slightly damp when I brush against it. The surface pulses with a rhythm that matches my heartbeat. The tunnel opens into another chamber. This one is smaller, more intimate. The ceiling is lower, and the red light comes from phosphorescent strips that grow along the walls like veins. The air here hums with energy, with life, with something that shouldn't exist. And there, in the center of the chamber, is Carmen. She's dancing, has been dancing, I realize, for 11 years. Her clothes are the same ones she wore the night she disappeared, but they're faded now, worn thin. Her hair is longer, unkempt. Her skin is pale as paper, but she's alive. She's alive and dancing, and her eyes are completely black. Carmen, I whisper. She doesn't stop dancing, doesn't even look at me. She's lost in the music, lost in the movement, lost in whatever this place has done to her. I approach slowly, my heart breaking with each step. Carmen, it's me, it's Nina. This time she turns. The smile that spreads across her face is beatific and terrible. Nina, she says, and her voice is like the woman upstairs. Honey and broken glass. You came. I knew you would come. I'm here to take you home.
Carmen laughs, and the sound echoes strangely in the chamber. Home. This is home. This is where the music lives, where it's always lived.
Carmen, you've been missing for 11 years. Mom died looking for you. Dad moved away. I've been searching everywhere. 11 years. Carmen stops dancing for the first time since I arrived. It feels like minutes, or maybe centuries. Time is different when you're part of the song. She begins to move again, but now her movements are directed at me. She's dancing toward me, her arms outstretched, her black eyes fixed on mine. You can join me, she says. Join us. Feel what I feel, hear what I hear. The music never stops, Nina. It's beautiful.
I back away, but the chamber is small. There's nowhere to go. What happened to you? What is this place?
It's a feeding ground, Carmen says simply. We feed the Siren, and the Siren feeds us. We give our time, our thoughts, our dreams. It gives us the music, the perfect, endless music. The Siren, the woman upstairs, she's not human, Nina. She's something older, something that needs what we have. Our life force, our memories, our souls. Then why do you stay? Carmen's smile becomes sad. Because I can't leave. None of us can leave. The music is in us now, in our hearts, in our minds. Without it, we die. I feel something change in the chamber. The walls pulse brighter. The music becomes more insistent. And I realize that Carmen isn't the only one here. They emerge from alcoves I hadn't noticed before. Dozens of them, people who came to dance and never left. Some look recent, their clothes modern, their skin still healthy. Others are ancient, their bodies preserved by whatever force keeps this place running. All of them have the same black eyes. All of them are moving to the same rhythm.
Welcome to the deep vault, Carmen says. Welcome to the harvest.
The dancers form a circle around me. Not threatening. Exactly. More like welcoming. They want me to join them, to become part of their endless dance. I reach into my jacket and pull out the recording device. It's still running, still capturing everything. But when I look at the display, the timestamp is wrong. It shows that I've been recording for 17 hours, but I only entered the club 30 minutes ago. Time works differently here. You can't record this, Carmen says. The music interferes with technology, always has. That's why no phones are allowed upstairs. She's right. The device is making strange noises now. Electronic whines and clicks that sound almost like screaming. The timestamp jumps backward, then forward, then stops altogether. How many people have disappeared here? I ask. All of them, Carmen says. Everyone who comes to the deep vault stays. We're a family now, a symphony. Each of us plays our part. For how long? Forever. The circle of dancers steps closer. The movements are hypnotic, synchronized. I can feel the music, trying to get into my head, trying to make me sway along with them. While I close my eyes and focus on my breathing, on the feeling of my sister's photograph in my pocket, on the promise I made to bring her home. When I open my eyes, I'm ready to fight. I know what you are, I say to Carmen. You're not my sister anymore. The dancing stops. Every figure in the chamber freezes, their black eyes fixed on me.
You're a lure, I continue. The Siren sends you up sometimes, doesn't she? To bring back people who are looking for the missing. People like me.
Carmen's smile falters. Nina, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. My sister died 11 years ago. You're just wearing her face.
The thing that looks like Carmen tilts its head. Your sister chose this. She chose to become part of something greater.
She chose to disappear. She chose to transcend. I pull out the photograph. In the red light of the chamber, I can see details I missed before. The background isn't the club upstairs. It's this chamber. And the figure in the photo isn't quite Carmen. The proportions are slightly off. The smile is too wide.
This isn't even her, I say. This is you. You sent me this picture to bring me here.
The Carmen thing stops pretending to be human. Her features begin to shift and blur, revealing something darker underneath. Her limbs become more graceful and more wrong. Her black eyes expand until they dominate her face. Clever, it says, in a voice that's no longer Carmen's, but not clever enough. The other dancers begin to move again, not dancing now, but advancing. Their movements are predatory, purposeful. The chamber fills with the sound of their footsteps, echoing off the organic walls. I reach into my other pocket and pull out the thing I've been carrying since I became a paramedic, the thing that saved more lives than I can count. A small glass vial filled with smelling salts, concentrated ammonia, the kind of sharp, piercing scent that cuts through any fog, any confusion, any trance. You feed on entranced minds, I say, on people who are relaxed, hypnotized, vulnerable. But what happens when someone's senses are suddenly violently awakened? I crack the vial and breathe in deeply. The sharp, acrid smell hits my nasal passages like a lightning bolt, flooding my system with clarity and alertness. The effect is immediate and dramatic. The red light becomes harsh, glaring. The music becomes discordant, painful. The dancers stumble, their synchronized movements breaking apart like a shattered mirror. And I can see what they really are. They're not people. They never were people. They're husks, shells, empty forms filled with something that writhes and pulses like diseased tissue. The thing that wore Carmen's face is changing too. Its features continue to shift and blur, revealing something pale and segmented underneath. Something with too many joints and too many teeth. You've ruined everything, it hisses. The music, the dance, the feeding. Good, I say, and mean it. The ammonia is making my eyes water. My sinuses burn, but I can see the chamber clearly now. The walls aren't stone. There's some kind of organic material, pulsing with veins of red light. The ceiling is covered in cocoons, hundreds of them, each containing a human shape. The real dancers, the real victims. Where is my sister? I demand. The creature that isn't. Carmen points upward with an arm that has too many joints. She's been feeding us for 11 years. Her dreams, her memories, her life force. Soon there won't be anything left of her to save. I look up at the cocoons. They're all connected by thin threads of the same organic material as the walls. And in the center, larger than the others, is one that pulses with a familiar rhythm. Carmen's heartbeat. Let her go, I say. She's already gone, the creature replies. We've taken everything. Her hopes, her fears, her love for you. That's how we knew you'd come. We've been living in her memories for a decade. The other husks are recovering from the ammonia disruption. They're moving again, circling me with renewed purpose. I can hear them whispering in voices that aren't human, coordinating their approach. But you're here now, the creature continues. Fresh, uncorrupted. You'll make a fine replacement. The ammonia effects are strong, but temporary. I have maybe 30 seconds before the music takes hold again and draws me back into the trance. 30 seconds to save Carmen and get out of this place. I look at the cocoon containing my sister. It's 15 feet above the floor, connected to the ceiling by a network of feeding tubes, too high to reach. Unless I climb. I grab one of the feeding tubes and start to climb. The organic material is slippery, warm, and it pulses with something that might be life force. Behind me, the husks are closing in, their movements becoming more coordinated as they overcome the ammonia interference. The tube I'm climbing contracts suddenly, trying to shake me off. I hold on, pulling myself higher toward the ceiling. The cocoons are all around me now, close enough to touch. Inside each one, I can see a human face. Some are recent, their features still recognizable. Others are ancient, their skin transparent, and their bones visible beneath. All of them are dreaming, their eyes moving beneath closed lids. All of them are still alive, still dreaming, still feeding the thing that calls itself the Siren. I reach Carmen's cocoon through the translucent membrane. I can see her face. She looks exactly as she did 11 years ago, preserved by whatever process keeps the victims alive. Her eyes are closed, but I can see them moving beneath her lids. She's dreaming, dreaming of me. I pull out my pocket knife and cut into the cocoon. The membrane parts like wet silk, releasing a flood of warm viscous fluid. Carmen's body falls into my arms, and for a moment I think she's gone. Then she gasps. Her eyes open, and they're brown, not black. Brown like they've always been. Nina, she whispers. I'm here. I say, I'm getting you out of here. Below us, the husks are climbing now too. Their movements are spider-like, unnatural. They're fast, but the ammonia in my system is still working. I can see them coming, can anticipate their movements. I look around for another way out. The chamber extends upward into darkness, but I can see more tunnels branching off at different levels. One of them has to lead to the surface. Can you climb? I ask Carmen. She nods, though her movements are weak, unsteady. 11 years of being fed upon has left her body atrophied, her muscles weak. Follow me, I say, and we begin our escape. The feeding tubes create a natural ladder system throughout the chamber. We climb from level to level, always moving upward, always staying ahead of the pursuing husks. Carmen is getting stronger as we climb. The further we get from the deep vault, the more human she becomes. Her skin regains color. Her movements become more coordinated. Her voice becomes clearer. The tunnels, she says, as we reach a branching point. They're like a maze. I remember from when I first came here. The siren showed me. Which way leads out? I don't know. But I know which way leads deeper. We choose the tunnel. The slopes upward. Behind us, I can hear the husks gaining ground. They know this place better than we do. They've been here longer. Their chittering voices echo through the tunnels, coordinating their hunt. The tunnel branches again, and again. We're running now, Carmen's hand in mine, both of us driven by the desperate need to escape. The walls pulse with that organic red light, and I can feel the place itself trying to hold us back. There, Carmen says suddenly. I can feel it. Air. Real air.
We round a corner and see it. Natural light, pale and gray and beautiful. Dawn light, filtering down through a crack in the ceiling. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
We are almost there when they catch us. The husks pour out of the tunnels behind us, moving within human speed. They're not pretending to be human anymore. They're pure predator, pure hunger. Their forms shift and change as they move, becoming more monstrous with each step. Go, I tell Carmen. Get out of here. Not without you. Go! I turn to face the husks. I have one more vial of ammonia, and I crack it. The sharp scent gives me strength, speed, clarity, but more importantly, it gives me hope. They overwhelm me. In seconds, their touch cold and wrong. I can feel them, trying to drain something from me, trying to pull out my memories, my thoughts, my life force. But they can't. The ammonia is protecting me, keeping my mind sharp and focused. I fight my way through them, punching and kicking and clawing. They're strong, but they're not used to resistance. They're used to docile victims, entranced by the music. I reach the crack in the ceiling. Carmen is already through, pulling herself up into the pale dawn light. I follow, hauling myself through the narrow opening just as the husks reach for me.
We're in an alley behind the warehouse, the real world, the normal world, the world where time moves forward and music comes from speakers and people don't get trapped in feeding cocoons.
Carmen collapses against the brick wall, sobbing. I hold her, both of us shaking with exhaustion and trauma and relief. It's over, I whisper. We're out. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. We called the police. Of course we called the police. I told them everything. The underground club, the missing people, the feeding chambers, the cocoons. They found nothing. The warehouse was empty. Had been empty for years according to the city records. The basement I described didn't exist. The tunnels, the chambers, the deep vault, none of it.
Mass hallucination,
The detective said. Probably drugs. You were gone for 18 hours. Plenty of time for something to get into your system.
18 hours. I'd been in the club for 18 hours, even though it felt like 30 minutes. Time works differently there.
Carmen was examined by doctors. Physically, she was healthy. Malnourished, dehydrated, but healthy. Mentally, she was traumatized, but coherent. She corroborated my story in every detail. The doctors said she'd been missing for 11 years. Her body showed signs of prolonged captivity, but no signs of aging beyond what would be normal for the time period. Where were you? They asked her. Dancing, she said. I was dancing. They thought she was protecting her captors, suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. They recommended therapy, medication, time. But I know the truth. The Red Vault is real. The Siren is real. And they're still down there, still feeding, still hunting. Because 3 days after we escaped, I found another photograph slipped under my door. This one shows the warehouse at night, the red light above the loading dock, and standing in the doorway, perfectly visible, is the pale woman with the black eyes. On the back, in handwriting that looks like mine, someone has written, "She's still dancing, and soon you will be too." I've been researching the warehouse. The city records show it was built in 1943 on the site of an old speakeasy. The speakeasy was built in 1921 on the site of an old church. The church was built in 1867 on the site of an old burial ground. The burial ground was already there when the first European settlers arrived. The Native Americans who lived here before warned them about the place, called it cursed, said something old and hungry lived beneath the earth. The settlers ignored the warnings. They always do. I don't know how long the Red Vault has been operating. Decades, maybe centuries, drawing people in, feeding on them, keeping them trapped in an endless dance. But I know it's not finished with us. I'm recording this from a motel room outside the city. Carmen is sleeping in the bed next to me, but her sleep is restless. She mutters in her dreams, and sometimes I hear music in her voice, the same music from the deep vault. I think part of her is still there, still connected to that place, still feeding the siren. And I think this siren isn't finished with us. The recording device I carried into the club is working again. When I played back the audio, most of it was corrupted, static, and electronic noise. But in the middle of the static, I can hear something else. Music. Faint, but unmistakable. The same music that's been playing in my dreams since we escaped. Last night, I found myself standing in the parking lot of the warehouse. I don't remember driving there. I don't remember getting dressed. I just remember the music calling to me, pulling me back. I managed to leave this time, but I don't think I'll be able to resist much longer. The music is getting stronger. The dreams are getting more vivid. And sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I see something black moving behind my eyes. Carmen is changing too. She's getting paler. Her movements are becoming more fluid, more rhythmic. Yesterday, I caught her dancing in the bathroom, her eyes closed, a smile on her face. She doesn't remember doing it. If you're listening to this, if you're in Detroit, if you hear about a club that only opens after midnight, don't go, don't look for it. Don't trust the red light, or the pale woman, or the promise of perfect music. Because once you start dancing, you never stop. Subscribe and hit the bell. Share this story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what time you're watching and what city you're from. And if you're ever in Detroit, if you see a red light pulsing in the darkness, if you hear music that makes your bones ache with longing, remember Carmen, remember me.
Remember that some dances are meant to last forever.
The music is calling again. I can hear it through the walls, through the floor, through my own heartbeat. Carmen is stirring in her sleep, her body beginning to sway to a rhythm only she can hear.
I think it's time to go home.
I think it's time to dance.
End of recording. File corrupted. Playback incomplete.
If you have any information about the whereabouts of Nina Alvarez or her sister Carmen, please contact the Detroit Police Department. They were last seen 3 days ago, leaving a motel outside the city limits. The red light is still pulsing. The music is still playing. And somewhere in the darkness beneath Detroit, the dance continues. The search continues.